Go Terry. Go Terry. No, it is Terry. It's Thursday, buddy. It's the last day of the week. I don't know about you, but this week to me has felt like it has just absolutely zipped by.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I felt like today's kind of like Tuesday or Monday, or maybe not Monday, but it feels more like a Tuesday than a Thursday to me.
Yep. It sure does. Of
Maybe it
course,
was all that snow outside. I don't know. Messed up my mind.
could be. And of course, the older I get, the faster it goes. So,
Yeah, that's just how it goes, right? They say that the days crawl, but the years fly, right? Isn't that the saying?
yeah.
Yeah, that's how it feels too. Like 55 and getting up there, my man. So today, well, yesterday, yeah, kind of a mixed bag a little bit yesterday at Gulfstream Park. Had some winners. I hit the trifecta in my box it up. Didn't pay a whole lot, but still give a little bit of a profit there. Missed on both of the pick fours. Got beat by horses that, well, I mean, that $145 horse killed us, right? That was the one that messed us up.
Yep. Sure is. I did have a couple of superfectas during the day, but uh,
Hmm.
other than that, yeah, that if that horse hadn't won, if our other one of our others, we would have had that pick four. So,
Well, what's sad about that? Well, not sad about that, Terry. But what we used to do just pick four, right? And then we switched it to a full card because when we did the full card, we had the pick fours. We talked about using the pick fours for exactas and trifectas, and because the truth is, hitting the vertical races, it's tough, right? Because if you have 10 horses per field, it's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 as the number of possibilities. So what is that? 10, 100, 1,000 possibilities.
yeah.
And then a lot of times too, if you bet $60, $70, you get $300 back. That's the equivalent of betting on a 5-1 horse, right?
Yeah.
So you're not really getting the best odds, but what you're kind of hoping for in there is that you can hit a nice price along the way and get a bumped up payout. For me personally, I usually bet like exactas early in the day. Then if I'm winning, I'll go to trifectas. And then if I build up my bankroll, then I'll move to the vertical bets like pick threes, pick fours, pick fives, that sort of thing. But I think I'm going to change that going forward off of that conversation we had with John Stenton, because, and also, with Tom, because I've heard some great stories about people who hit just maybe one pick six per year, maybe two.
Yeah.
But when they hit, they hit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. The biggest pick six I've ever hit was 20 center for like 7,000, I think it was.
Yeah, I've never really even played pick sixes because I'm a numbers guy, Terry. As you know, I'm always looking at probability and math, and what's the possibility of this outcome. And I've always just felt like you can't win, right? Because mathematically, you can put your money in, and much like pick fours, at the end of the day, you might win one, but you're getting like 7-1 odds or 6-1 odds on your money, and your odds of winning it are far, far, far less than. Far greater. Say a 1 in a what? If you had like 7 horses in each race, it's 7 to the 6th power, whatever that works out to be. That's your odds of actually hitting that race.
It's really hard. It really is. I've played a lot of them that I didn't win. So,
well, most people, like I said, it's difficult to string. It's difficult to string 2 races in a row at times, right?
It is. Yeah. To get
Absolutely.
that daily double, it sure is.
Well, today we're going to try to string together 9 races, Terry, at Aqueduct. As we mentioned yesterday, we were kind of a little bit leery about maybe doing Aqueduct early in the week because the weather is going to be a little funky over there. The track is at this point in time for race number 1 listed as good. I don't know if it's raining or snowing or what the weather is there right now, but it is good. There were a bunch of scratches that kind of messed us up a little bit with our picks, but let's get cracking with what we have today. Terry, what do you say?
All right. Sounds good to me.
All right, so let me just put the right thing in the right screen and we can go get started. So Aqueduct, race number 1, Terry, is a maiden, a special weight race of $80,000. And quite frankly, Terry, there's a lot of 1 mile races today. So keep an eye on how race 1 plays out, because it could determine like what this sort of biases you see in many other races. And it is a 1-turn, 1 mile race there. So the jockeys have told us to treat it more like a sprint than a route. And there have been 77 races at the distance, Terry, 59 won by speed. So there you can see an example that it does play a little bit, probably more like a sprint than a route. 24 of the 77, so a little bit less than a third, have gone wire to wire. And the post positions do play fair, Terry, though there is a little bit of a disadvantage to breaking from the rail. I have, I'm not superstitious, but I don't like when I see that my first three winners are 6, 6, and 6.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I was thinking about just flipping one around for the sake of breaking up that streak. But any case, Terry, take us through why you like long term as your top selection.
Well, number 5 long term, he's going to be the really hard favorite, I believe. And he ran second versus similar in his last race. He has a high percentage winning trainer, Todd Pletcher, who in the last 14 days have won 2 out of 5 starts, and they added blinkers today. And then number 6, Improper, finished third versus similar in his only start, receiving the highest last speed rating. His best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 2, Pathological, one may improve and with Lasix and blinkers added. And then number 3, Union Lights. Hey, they changed to jockey Trevor McCarthy, which I think is a really good move.
Yes, Trevor has definitely been smoking hot over at Aqueduct since he came on the Horse Center show with Sean and I last night. Did you get a chance to catch that last night with Diego Herrera?
I did. It was good. I like that kid. He's really sounds mature, and he's got a good attitude about everything. So
yeah, he's off to a good start right now. He's tied for the number of wins at Los Alamitos, and then he's seventh in wins at Santa Anita. So maybe he can get that riding double, the leading jockey at Los Al, which is quarter horses, and the leading jockey on thoroughbreds. I mean, that's a long shot on the Santa Anita side because he loses his bug in a couple of months, and it'll be a little more difficult for him to get mounts. But I suspect if he continues to work hard and get wins, he'll get all the mounts that he wants. Yeah, I'm going to try to beat that favorite, Terry, in race number 1. As you mentioned, long term, the 5 horse is going to be and is a heavy favorite right now. 42 minutes to post. He's currently the 1-2 favorite. So we know when you have a 1-2 favorite, Terry, I feel like you want to try to beat it, especially in a maiden race, Terry. So, it probably does win, but I'm going to try with Improper, Terry. Has the best late pace numbers by a long shot. And I know I said speed wins, but it did run the top last race speed figure in this field, put in a strong workout since that last run. And that last race, Terry, was a speed figure above par for this level. So if Improper can just run the same race, it has a shot to, it would probably win this race. And last time out, it did run some of the better opening quarter mile fractions in this field. You're going to look at long term. It is the 1-2 favorite. It is what it is. Top pedigree, improved off its debut in race number 2. It ran faster fractions last time out, despite adding 3 furlongs. That's a very strong sign usually. I'm going to go with number 7, Eagle in Love, Terry. First time starter. And I really don't feel like in this field there's a whole lot more after the top 2 horses, and has 17 furlongs in workouts since December 31st. So there's no question that it's coming in as a fit horse. And then finally, number 2, Pathological, had some good work since its November 20th debut and gets the first time Lasix. Race number 2, Terry, kicks off the opening pick 4. It's also 1 mile, except this one's an optional claiming, as we talked about last race. Speed is the way, Terry. You have a pick. Now things are kind of out of order because now you have a pick that's your first selection that I don't even have in my top 4. And just to kind of preview a little bit, it was a close call between the 3 and the 5 for me for my 4th pick. So why am I so stupid to not have the 5 horse in my picks? Was it RDoc or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's RDoc. Now, tell you the truth, I originally had the 2 horse, but it was scratched. So we can go with this number 5, RDoc. He won his last race at Aqueduct and moves up in class. I like that move. A lot of people don't like it, but I like it because it means to me that they feel like this horse is really in good shape and ready to move up a little bit. And then has several good workouts, including a bullet workout in its last workout. And then number 6, Hot Stepper, won last race at Aqueduct, has a high percentage winning trainer whose entries win 28% of the races, second time he uses Lasix. And then number 4, Land Francophile.
Land Francophile, huh?
Yeah, he finished third versus similar in his last race, and the jockey in the last 7 days has won 3 out of 11 races. And I like number 7, Convertible Breeze. Won last race and earned the highest last race speed. His best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters, and they added Lake Six today.
So I'm going to start with Hot Stepper, Terry. 3 consecutive speed figure increases. The horse is making a drop from $70,000 purse last time out to $55,000, and does have the top late pace numbers in the field. Number 7, Convertible Freeze, is another one that's been moving up the speed figure ladder, as it's had 4 consecutive speed figure increases in a row. Last time out, Terry won by 8 1/4 lengths, and most of the time when you see a horse run off like that, the next time out they run a pretty good race too. It is, as you mentioned, getting first-time Lasix after running the top last race speed figure. That can be a pretty powerful combination. I do like Land Francophile as my third selection, Terry, because he ran the top early pace numbers by a lot. So when you look at how I calculate them out, I expect Land Francophile to be on the lead. And I see this as a horse that has a lot of early pace, Terry, in a race that doesn't have a lot of other real, I would say, classic 1-1-1-1-1s across the past performance lines. And it also has the fastest quarter-mile fractions that any horse in this field has run with the top pedigree. So a lot of reasons to like that horse. And then for me, the call between Don't Be Late and your top choice, RDoc, that was, so it's a 50-50 one, Terry. So for sure RDoc is going to finish in the money, because whatever 50-50 one I toss out, it's usually one that upsets my my ticket a little bit. But I just went back and looked at their 1 mile times at Aqueduct. And Don't Be Late, the 3-horse, ran a mile, I think, in a couple seconds faster than RDoc. And if they just rerun those races, Don't Be Late's 5-6 lengths ahead of RDoc. So that's why I picked Don't Be Late over RDoc. Race number 3, Terry, is the third 1 mile race in a row. Just to recap, they've run 77 races at it, 59 won by speed, Terry, 24 went wire to wire. There's a slight disadvantage to running in from the rail for this allowance 82,000 non-winner of lifetime race. But other than that, all the other post positions play the same. I have the 6 as my first pick again, completing my my 666. Sad. I'm not superstitious, but I don't like messing with that sort of stuff, Terry. But why do you like the 6 horse?
Well, first of all, you were talking about speed in this race is really important, and this horse has a lot of speed. It appears in his race won the race at Aqueduct last time, and she has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey in the last 7 days have won 3 out of 11 races. And then number 2, Honey Money. That's what I call my honey money. She has done very well with jockey Trevor McCarthy in the irons, winning the last race. Aqueduct.
Does she call you anything like that, or are you all 4-letter words, Terry?
Yeah, she calls me Honey Bunny. So.
All right. Well, I think from now on we're going to go, instead of Terry Hollywood Hay, it's going to be Honey Bunny Hay on the bottom. You're going to get rid of the Hollywood now, Terry.
Okay. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters, and the trainer jockey combination the last 14 days have finished in the money 3 out of 4 times. So, and then number 1, Blushable, won 2 out of the last 3 races. The last race at Aqueduct, she has a high percentage winning trainer, William Morey, which is a trainer I like. And in 11 starts, he's been in the money 7 times, winning 4 of those. And then I like number 3, Courageous Girl. Finished third in last race at Aqueduct. The trainer wins 22% of the time when going from a sprint to a route. And this jockey in the last 7 days have been in the money 6 out of 11 times.
Well, Default Protection, Terry, won last time out by 12 furlongs. That's smoke in the field, my friend. And it did so with better fractions, Terry, in 1 mile than it ran in its 6 furlong debut. So that's an indication of how much that horse improved from race 1 to race 2. If it improves by the same amount, it might be at the finish line while the rest of the horses are coming out of the starting gate. Does have the top pedigree, Terry, and 2 really good workout scents. So I do like that. You and I flip-flop the 1 and the 2. I like Blusher Bulls. 1, 2, or 3 at the distance, Terry. And if you look at the race last time out, it improved in the second half of the race. So the 4 furlong numbers and the late pace numbers were definitely better in her last race. So I think she'll be coming on at the end. Then Terry's horse, Honey Money, is ran much better fractions last time out, Terry. In fact, it ran some of the better quarter mile fractions out of any horse in this field. And it does have the top late pace numbers by a long shot. So if Honey Bunny is close to the pace, Terry, as they're coming around that turn and down the stretch they come, Honey Bunny's got a really good chance to run by everybody. And then finally, I'm closing out race number 3 with Vienna Code. Did run the top last race speed figure, Terry. You know how much I like that, especially off the drop. This horse ran for $100,000 last time. Just a small drop, only $18,000 difference, $82,000 this time. Does have the fastest opening quarter mile fractions out of any horse in this field. And the trainer turns it right around after increasing its speed figure 4 races in a row. Race number 4, Terry, is your Box It Up, Terry.
It is.
Yes, indeed. And it's also the first race, Terry, that's 6 furlongs long. It's an $80,000 maiden special weight. If you look at 6 furlong races, Terry, so it's the first one off a mile. They've run 100 of them, so there's a lot of them. Easy math on this one, 70% or 71 by speed. 37% ran wire to wire, Terry. And there's a slight inside 3 bias. So 1, 2, and 3 tend to have a little bit of an advantage right there. And then if you go for 3 and out, it's a pretty fair numbers between all of them. So this is your Box It Up, where we do a $1 exacta box, a 50-cent trifecta box, and a 10-cent superfecta box, Terry. Why don't you walk us through your Box It Up?
All right. Well, this is
why do I have race number 8 for you, Terry? I think that's your best bet. So I did screw something up today, Terry. That's supposed to be race 4, folks.
All right. Well, here's another race that my top pick was scratched. And, the scratches come out just before we do our show. So you don't have a lot of time to look at what you're going to do. I did have an alternate that I moved into the 4th place. I might have changed my Box It Up if I had time, but let's go with this. Number 2, Actualize, bumped at the gate and ran a good third anyway. Switches to a high percentage winning trainer whose entries have won 25% of the races the first time he uses Lasix. And the jockey in the last 7 days has a record of 11 starts, 3 wins. And then number 6, Cathedral Beach, finished 3rd versus similar in his only start. And then the trainer wins 18% of the races when it's the second entry of a career race. And then number 3, Capone. The Dam has 1 winner from 2 starters. And this horse has a bullet workout January 26th. Number 7, Our Shot, has decent workouts, and they've added Lasix.
So I changed it to be correct. Did you catch that, Terry, in the middle of it? How the 4 determines the 4? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting quick. Hey, Jordan, how you doing? Good to see you today. Do you enjoy handicapping on a sloppy track or rather have a dry surface?
I like sloppy.
To me, honestly, it doesn't really matter. And I think speed tends to hold up better in sloppy races for whatever reason. I've heard from jockeys and from trainers and the like and people around horse racing that a lot of horses really aren't fans of stuff kicking up in their face, and it kind of discourages them a little bit.
Yeah, I believe that too. I mean, I like sloppy track, and I tend to go with the speed horses. To me, it runs almost like a fast track, except for the speed usually pretty good because of the mud. The ones for me that are hard to do are the good tracks and the off tracks, muddy tracks and heavy tracks. In the old days, they used to use the terms muddy and heavy. They don't do that anymore. So
for me, I really don't mind doing it either way. I mean, I'm so used to doing fast tracks. When you handicap the night before, you always have to you can check the weather forecast, but you kind of have to have your eye on how the horses run on a fast track. And then from there, what I do is I'll make adjustments based upon a horse's ability or past record on a off track. Really, where I use an off track more, to be honest with you, is when horses are running from they go from dirt to turf, and they've never run on turf before. A really good indicator can be how a horse runs on a good track or a muddy track. when it's making its first start on turf. And then another angle I'll look at is that all weather to the turf, because many jockeys have told us that, the off track, the off dirt to turf, and the all weather to turf is a much better indicator than what they do on a dirt track. And that's something kind of Diego talked about a little bit last night, about the difference between running on dirt and running on turf. If you haven't had a chance to go check out that show, I thought this was some pretty interesting insight from a very young jockey. And he said that on dirt, you can go 4 wide all the way around the track and have a chance to win, because he's done it a couple times. He said, but you don't really have a chance to do that on turf at all, because you need to be saving ground, because the horses, their legs will be shot late in a race on turf if you try to go that much more distance than everybody else on the grass. So that's one of the great things about what we do, Terry, and that's why we're trying to build a community here. So if you like what you see, please follow us on Facebook at Horse Race Today, or on Twitter, same handle. Like us or subscribe while you're here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up or a like, because it does help us a lot with the algorithms, with the tech giants. It helps us move up their rankings when you search, so more people can find us like that. And to wrap that back up, by bringing jockeys on, we're hoping to provide insights like that, so we all can learn as a group on maybe becoming better handicappers by putting ourselves in the shoes of the jockeys, trainers, owners, that sort of thing. All right, enough pontificating from me, Terry. Let me tell you about what I like in race number 4, Terry. So I'm going to go with number 2, Actualize, just like you, Terry, at the top of my pick. This is a horse that has the top early pace numbers by a pretty good margin. Fastest quarter-mile fractions that anybody has ever run in this field, Terry. And the interesting thing is it gets Lasix, Terry, and you know how much of a fan I've become in the past year of fast horses that are getting first-time Lasix. Capone, that 6-horse, Terry, is a $400,000 horse. They paid Terry money for this horse, Terry. And what I like about this horse, Terry, it has what I call a bullet and go. And this is something that when you're looking at first-time starters, Terry, and you're looking at the workouts, one of the things that I learned in the Alpha book is, as we talked about, horses that have 15% angles or higher, the bullet and go for a first-time starter is one of those angles. And Capone, as you see here, ran the fastest of 48, which is a pretty good, depth for a furlong workout there. So I think that $400,000 horse, Terry, is going to come to run today. I could be wrong, but especially on slop, sometimes you don't know how that rookie horse is going to react. My next selection after that, Terry, is the one horse. The one horse is Dad's Good Runner. This is going to be a little bit of a long shot, folks. This horse has the top pedigree in the field. And the second race, it kind of really tailed off. It got off to a really good start, and then it probably bled, to be honest with you, because now it's getting first-time Lasix. But if you look at those debut 2 furlong and 4 furlong pace numbers, they're off the charts relative to everybody else in this field. And it has 16 furlongs of good workouts since January the 4th. So the horse should be fit. It's going to be fast out of the gate. And if that Lasix makes a difference, we're going to get a price. And then it was a tough call for me between the next 2, number 6 and number 5, between Cathedral Beach and Check That Chip, Terry. So I tossed the 5 out. So that's the one that's going to win. But Cathedral Beach, Terry, trainer George Weaver is an 18% winner in the second career start. So that's a pretty good number there. Had issues in its last race. I think it got bumped and checked as it was coming around the corner there. And it's had better works than the 5 horse and Check That Chip since the last time out. So it's a real tough call for me there. Finally, the last race of the early pick 4 is race number 5. And it's going to end with my best bet, number 5, for Stanhope. Stanhope ran the fastest quarter-mile fractions any horse in this field has been able to produce. Did so because it has the top pedigree. Last race, it did run the fastest or some of the fastest quarter-mile fractions for anybody in this field. And this is a horse that has the top early and late pace numbers. So not only does the horse going to get to the front, it's going to be very difficult for everybody to catch. And it's yet another 6 furlong race, Terry, for claiming $14,000, non-winners of 3 lifetime. You also have the 4 horse on top. You like it, but why didn't you make it your best bet, Terry?
Well, my best bet of the day was scratched, actually. And so, like I said, I didn't have a lot of time. I could have made this one the best bet of the day. Looks pretty good. Anyway, Stanhope finished third versus Tougher in his last race and did get the highest race speed rating. And he dropped some class today. And the early running style will help his chances, I believe. And then number 6, Brock Moninoff, likes to lead the race to win and won last race at Aqueduct doing exactly that. And then number 8, Eucharist, won last race at Aqueduct and has a couple of good workouts to prepare for this race because he's been off for a while.
I'd say a Catholic probably owns that one, huh?
It could be. And then number 2, Debo. And,
and you took Debo. I don't even know. You didn't even look at the horse, Terry.
I know.
You saw the name was Debo, and you said, "Boom! I'm putting him on there as a 49ers fan." That's
exactly right. But he does drop in class today, and he's got jockey Dylan Davis in the irons.
Yeah, when I saw that horse's name Debo, I'm surprised it's not your first pick in your best bet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, Terry, funny thing is we have the same 4 horses in the same exact order here. So I like, as I mentioned, Stanhope is my best bet of the day. Brock Moninoff has the top early pace numbers by a pretty good margin in this field. It's another horse that's walking up the performance ladder, which I like to see. So when I say by walking up the performance ladder, that means that, and let me just pull it up real quick. I got to change screens real quick so we can see what I mean by walking up the performance ladder, Terry. So, and where is this horse? Brock Moninoff. So you see here, if you can see that, let me just open it up a little bit bigger. So Brock Moninoff in this race here, you see showed early speed and then faded to 5th. Showed early speed and then faded to 2nd. And then here showed early speed and maintained that speed and stayed 1st. So if you look up this ladder, you see those ones extend out farther and farther and farther, and then better numbers at the end. So that's a horse that's moving up the performance ladder, Terry. And I expect that you'll see the horse continue up that performance ladder today. And with that early speed, Terry, where 70 races out of 100 were won by early speed, look out. And it's raced well at Aqueduct with two races, a win and a second. Number 8, Eucharist does have 4 consecutive speed figure increases, 2 of 3 wins at the distance. So he's run there 3 times at 6 furlongs, won 2 of them. You run that horse at any other distance, Terry, it has as many wins as you and I do on a horse track, 0 in 5 attempts. And then I had to put Debo in there just for you, Terry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But he does have consistently better speed figures than any other horse in this field that's left, and 2 decent works since the last time the horse ran. And that race number 5, as I said, ends the opening pick 4. And I think, if I remember correctly, we both did our hot dog pick 4s with race 2, 3, 4, and 5. We both did it for $18. You went 3 in the first leg and 3 in the second leg. I went 3 in the first leg, 3 in the third leg. And then we both closed it out with the 4 and 6, Terry. Interestingly, for us to both win, it can go 6-4 in the first leg, 1-6 in the second leg, only the 2 in the third leg, and then 4-6 in the last leg. So the linchpin horse for both of us, Terry, to hit the hot dog pick 4 is that 2 horse in race number 4. Which is your best bet?
Yes. So,
and then tonight, Terry, is as always our Players Edge podcast. Tonight we have on a guest from Louisiana it's Delta Downs, Gerard Melisson. I think that's how they pronounce that down there, right? In Louisiana, because there's a little bit, they pronounce things a little bit differently down there. There's Gerard wearing the some pants that we are familiar with, right?
Yep.
And this gentleman has a very, I would say, almost like if there's a manuscript writer who's listening or who watches this show, you might want to get in contact with this dude, because I think there's a really good movie in his life, Terry.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been pretty up and down, exciting, and all kinds of stuff happening. So,
yeah, this is a guy who he says he was spoiled. His dad was the chief of police for 30 years or something like that in his town in Louisiana. So he said he had motorcycles, he had horses, he had everything, right? But he was also got involved with drinking at an early age. He said that He knew by the time he was in 7th grade that he had a drinking problem because he liked it too much.
Oh,
Then he
boy.
got involved in other things. He got, and he wanted to be a boxer because he said he was always small. So he wanted to fight, but then he got introduced to horse racing, and then he got addicted to other things. He took some money, not to finish in the money. I think he said like $500. The other dude that did it the same race, who was on an 8-5 favorite, and he said just, horrible ride that you could tell. That guy got really drunk, told the state police, big investigation. Essentially, no other jurisdiction would give him a license to ride except for Louisiana. And then, like, he was on Kentucky Derby horses that were like favorites and stuff, or at least contenders.
Yes.
And they wouldn't let him ride in Kentucky because they wouldn't give him his license because of something what he had did with the race fixing. And then he got sober with the help of his wife, he said, at 22 years old. So, not long after all the problems, his life was a wreck. And then since he's been sober, and now he's one of the top like 30 jockeys in wins. He's got like 5,043 wins, almost all of them in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So, that's one of those, what would you call it? One of those like spoiled to downfall to triumph stories.
Yeah.
That, and I think there's a lot more to just horse racing there. So if you're a manuscript writer, maybe reach out to this guy. I think you might have a really good movie to write.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's an excellent writer. He really does a good job. So,
and he'll be our guest tonight on the Players Edge podcast, which starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Racing Radar TV. Again, subscribe and hit the bell. When we're about to go live, you'll be notified. And if you are following us on Facebook or Twitter at Horse Race, the number 2 day, our Swiss Army Sean will notify you when we're about to go live, Terry. So we're going to go back to our picks, starting in race number 6, Terry. Race number 6. So let me pull the screen up once again. Race 6, Terry, is a maiden claiming $20,000 race, Terry. This one, again, is, I think, the 4th race, because the first 3 were at a mile. The next 2 were at 6 furlongs. So, yes, we're back to a mile. So the 4th race in the opening 6 that go 1 mile, Terry. Just to recap, 77 races at a mile, Terry. 59 won by speed. 24 go wire to wire. There's a slight disadvantage if you wear the number 1, but everything else plays kind of fair. This is my box it up, Terry. So let me bring that up. So there's a lot of stuff going on here at one time. Too many buttons for me to remember which one to press, Terry. I need like a producer or one of those people in the background, a director.
That's right.
Everything's. Number 6 is Romantic Man, Terry. And I think romantic men are probably called Honey Bunny by their others. This horse has been turned around pretty quickly, less than 20 days since its last race, Terry. And the last time this horse ran, it did produce the top last race speed figure. In fact, it was over par for this level. So this is a horse, if it just runs back one race, Terry, could be an easy winner. Has the top late pace numbers in the field by a pretty good margin. Number 8 is Total Effort. Terry was the favorite last time out and claimed by trainer Wayne Potts, who wins at 17% off the claim. So a little bit of alpha there. Does have some of the fastest opening fractions last time out. And interestingly, Trevor McCarthy gets off the 4-horse, My Boy Colton, to ride the 8-horse.
Yeah.
Number 9, We Ready. Second off a layoff. Its resume says the second race off a layoff should be slightly better than the first race, and it has the best combination of early pace and late pace numbers in this field. And finally, wrapping it up at number 4. And again, this was a tough call for me between the 4 and the 2, a light. But I'm going to go with My Boy Colton because it does have the top early pace figures where speed matters. And it doesn't just have the top early pace numbers by a little bit. It has them by a lot. So if the jockey doesn't go out and run faster fractions than necessary, could run a race at its tempo from end to end. And it was well bet last time out against many of these same horses. So the bettors thought that My Boy Colton was better than Elite last time out, although Elite did finish ahead of My Boy Colton and did so with better fractions, or at least the same fractions at 1 mile that it ran at 6 furlongs. So if you don't like the 4 in your box, maybe you toss it out and put the 2 in there in the end. I went with the 4 ultimately, Terry. You have a little bit different picks here. You like the 8 and 6 on top, and then you have the 2. So instead of the 4.
Yeah. Well, the number 8 Total Effort, he finished in the third versus similar in his last race. at today's distance, so the distance won't be a problem. And the trainer wins 21% of the time when he brings a horse back that's a beaten favorite. And then the trainer jockey combination in the last 14 days have won 2 out of 4 starts. Number 6, Romantic Man, finished third versus similar in his last race, and he has the highest last race speed rating. And then number 2, Elite, ran second versus similar in his last race. His best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then, I had a scratch in this race also. So this is number 9 as a alternate for me. We Ready. He ran a disappointing 6th after being bumped pretty badly at the start. He has decent workouts on January 8th at Belmont. He was the 6th best out of 52.
And now We Ready, Terry, for race number 7, 6 furlongs, so claiming 16,000 non-winners of 2 lifetime for 4 years old and up. Terry, we've talked about 6 furlongs being a race, again, a distance that does favor speed. And even 100 races, 70 of them won by those were either first, second, or third at the quarter-mile marker. 37 of them, Terry, left the gate first and hit the wire first, ran straight from the gate to the winner's circle without seeing the backside of another horse. And again, you have a slight inside 3 bias here, Terry, but everything from 4 and out plays kind of evenly. Fire away with your 1A, Terry. See, I like the other one was it My Cousin Rich last
Absolutely.
time, but he scratched. So
yeah,
and if it doesn't have my name in it, if they're kicking me out of the race, well, by golly, I'm kicking the other one out of the race.
I like the other one a lot more than I did this one, but in my experience in the last several years, a lot of times when there's an entry like this and the trainer scratches a horse, the other one always seems to do really well. And I think it's because we don't know what the trainer and the people back there know. We don't know why the horse was scratched. We don't know if he made the decision. So I went ahead and just left the 1A Scorpion Dynasty in the top spot. He ran second versus similar his last race. And then number 8, Victory Built, finished third versus similar in his last race, and he received the highest speed figure at today's distance. Number 4, Malibu Star, drops in class today, and the trainer wins 26% of the time when his entry runs in a claiming race. And then he also has the best dirt speed among today's starters. And then number 2, Ghostmon, won last race at Aqueduct, has a high percentage winning trainer.
What's interesting, Terry, is your top 2 picks. Again, roles are reversed today. Your top 2 picks, I don't even have in my top 4 picks, which means it's going to go 1, 8, and then probably 4, 2. But in any case, let's talk about why I like the 4 horse here as my top choice. Malibu Star, first off Acclaim. Trainer Kelly Breen has won 13 of 50, so 26% of horses in races under the same conditions. This horse is making its second start off a layoff and should show more in race 2 than it did in race number 1. And it's taking the biggest drop in this field by a pretty good margin. Last time out, it ran for a purse of $82,000, Terry, and it's flipping those numbers around, only running for $28,000 this time. Number 2, Ghostman. The resume says this is another horse that should improve dramatically in race number 2 off the sidelines, has the top pedigree in this field. So if it can just run to its breeding, should be all right. Number 7, Tail of Mineshaft, Terry, has 11 furlongs of workout since its last race on December 3rd. That's 11 furlongs. That should mean that the horse is fit and ready to go. Last work was a very fast one, and this one's making its first run for trainer Rob Altris. And Rob is a disciple of Robertino Diodoro. And I know that, Robertino, when he has a horse for the first time, many times you see horses with Robertino that didn't really show pace. And then the first time out for Robertino, they show pace. So I'm expecting that Tail of Mineshaft is going to be closer to the lead than it's been in the past. And this one's dropping from about a $50,000 purse last time out to 28. And then finally, it was a tough call here again for me between the 3 and the 8. So between Litterbox and Victory Built, I went with the longer odds. And that's because when you look at Litterbox, it does have two of the fastest, some of the fastest opening fractions last time out. And this is another one of those horses that you see that's moving up the performance ladder. So as we mentioned about in the performance ladder, you see that it's getting closer to the lead at the end of the race, race after race after race. Race number 8, Terry, is your Box It Up. Terry, tell us a little bit about why you put these horses in this order.
Well, first of all, that they scratched.
No, this is your
a
best
lot.
bet. I'm sorry, not your Box It Up. Your
Yeah,
best bet.
and
Yes,
and they scratched a lot of horses in this race. And actually, my best bet, my top pick was scratched again. That happened in 3 different races today. But this is my second pick, the number 5 horse, and I like this number 5, Chestertown. Finished third in the last race after being bumped and steadying at the 3/16 pole. The best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then number 3, Little Menace, finished third in his last race at Aqueduct. The winner wins 27% of the time the first race after he claims a horse, and then he can improve at the shorter distance. Number 1, By Land and Sea, finished third in his last race. And number 4, Little Menace. Oops, can't be Little Menace, number 4. So I've got a
number 4 is Famished.
Yes.
Needs to eat.
And I'll just say that's my 4th pick, Famished.
Famished is your 4th pick. He's famished against this group of people here in terms of its appetite for winning. I don't know. That's probably not the proper use of famished and all. Absolutely. Well, this is a race, Terry, that's 7 furlongs. It's the only 7 furlong race on the card, I think, today. Yes, indeed. 44 races, 33 won by speed, 18 went wire to wire. There's a slight outside the inside bias. Doesn't really matter in a 4-horse field, Terry. And when you get these 4-horse fields, a lot of times, you get one horse that gets out to the lead, and that's kind of it, right? And nobody else, and everybody else is kind of chasing them. And the thing is, between the 1, the 5, and the 3, so between By Land and Sea, Chestertown, and Little Menace, they all have some pretty similar early pace type numbers. But I went with By Land and Sea, 4 consecutive speed figure increases, Terry. This is one that should be better in the second race. Again, off a layoff. I do like the fact that the horse showed improvement in the past, I think 2 out of 3 times, and significantly a couple of times. I mentioned that when you get these races with short fields, that sometimes the horse gets to the lead, doesn't give it up. It does have By Land and Sea does own the fastest quarter-mile fractions that any horse in this field has produced. And in fact, not only has it done that, but this horse owns, according to the way I calculated out, the top early pace number for the field and the top late pace number. So if you run faster than everybody early and you run faster than everybody late, it's going to be tough for people to catch you.
Absolutely.
It was a real tight call for me, Terry, between Chesterton and Little Menace for that second spot. And I mean, real close. If I can merge the 2 numbers into one, I probably would have. But Chesterton is dropping from $100,000 to $84,000. Very small drop. Ran at Aqueduct 7 times, has 3 wins and 3 thirds. This is a horse that's making its 3rd start. So the classic handicapping angle we all learned when we first start doing horse racing, degeneracy, has a very good workout since its last race. And then Little Menace does have the top pedigree. And what concerns me about this is you got a horse that was well bet last time out, got claimed, and now is making, rewind 1 race. Its first race for trainer Rob Altris. And again, I know how that, from Robertino studying them and now Rob Altris, when they claim horses, Terry, they have a specific race in mind. I think this horse is going to be towards the front as well because it almost wired the field last time out. Both of us left Famished off of our ticket. It's the only thing that's left, Terry, and probably going to beat both of us at the end.
That's right. Yep.
The final race on the card today, Terry, is race number 9. We're going to start the race, end the card the way we started the card, 1 mile on the 1-turn route, 77 races, 59 won by speed, 24 of them went wire to wire, Terry. Again, the play's fair, except there's a slight disadvantage if you wear the number 1, Terry. And the race number 9 conditions are, let me look it up real quick. It is a maiden special weight $70,000 race. I'm starting it and ending it with the 6-horse, Terry. If the 6s have a good day today, we're both going to have a great day because you can see the 6 littered our card. But if the 6 wins every single race, I'm going to have 5 winners today, Terry.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, you'll have a lot of winners too, but they'll be your second pick. But fire away. Why do you like the 6-horse here as your top selection, as do I in Eminency?
Yeah, Eminency beat was only beaten 3/4 of length last time with against similar horses, and received the highest last race speed rating. Was actually tied with Beach Boy Al. Uh, the trainer wins 24% of the time when bringing a beaten favorite back to races, and then the best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. It's got a really good jockey trainer combination who have been in the money 5 out of 6 times, winning 2 of those in the last 14 days. And then I like number 4, Pineapple Man. Finished third versus similar in last race. Could improve at the longer distance, and they added Lasix.
Terry, did
And
you know that pineapples eat you while you're eating them?
they do what?
They eat you while you're eating them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's some, I guess, acid in a pineapple that actually like it like eats your skin while you're eating it or something along those lines. It's an interesting thing about pineapples. And I don't know about you, but I think pineapples are my favorite fruit of all the fruits.
Yes,
But the problem is they're the most difficult to eat, right? Because it takes so much work preparing them. So
it does. Yeah.
and they're really tough to buy, right? Because do you know how to buy a pineapple, Terry? My mom taught me how to buy a pineapple.
No, I don't know. Push on the bottom.
My mother told me what you do is you put the pineapple flat on its bottom, right? So like the what was that in Madagascar? I forget what the one animal had the pineapple on top of its head. But anyway, so you lay it down flat and you grab the middle like spike that's sticking out, whatever you want to call it, right? The hairs, if you will. You grab the middle one, and if it pops out, if you can pull it out, it means it's ready. But you got to do the next thing is you got to take it, you got to smell it. And it's got to smell like pineapple, but it still has to be firm. If you do those 3 things, you'll pick a pretty good pineapple almost every time. See, you come here for horse racing picks, you learn how to pick pineapples, Terry.
Yeah, that's true.
So what are our final selections for race number 1 at Aqueduct, Jason says. So if you look at the top of the sheet here, you'll see in race number 1, the 5, 6, 2, and 3 are for Terry. I'm going to try to beat that heavy favorite in race number 1. There are about 3 minutes to post right now, and that 5 horse, which is the favorite, I think it's 1-2 still. So I feel like I'm going to give him proper a chance to beat it, Terry. All right, sorry to interrupt you with our grocery store how to pick pineapple hour, but go ahead and fire away on the 3 and the 2.
Okay, number 3, Beach Boy Al was only beaten 1 length versus similar in the only start, and starts and received the highest last speed rating, tied actually with Embassy. And then number 2, State Planning. The trainer wins 40% of the time when using Lasix for the first time on his entries, and then he can improve at this longer distance. The trainer jockey combination last 14 days have won 2 out of 3 starts.
So I'm firing away with number 6, Eminency, as my top pick too, Terry. This horse has the top breeding numbers in the field. Also has, as a result of that breeding, the top early pace and late pace combination in the field. And this horse had sneaky better fractions last time out, as they were better in a 7 furlong race than they were in a 6.5 furlong race. So ran a little bit different, longer, but still ran the same numbers. And that's actually an improvement. Beach Boy Al, Terry, and you were probably a big Beach Boys fan growing up, I'd imagine. Tied for the last game, you're a California guy, California band. Wish they could all be California girls, Terry, right?
Yeah, that's right.
David Lee Ross cover on that was pretty funny as well. But anyway, number 6, Beach Boy Al, did tie for the top last race speed figure in its debut, Terry, which I love to see horses that debut at a speed figure that's equal to or better than everything else that was run in the field. That tells me the horse is likely to improve in round number 2, like so many do. And I have sneaky suspicion that'll happen because he did run a very good workout since his last race and should be one that at a mile where speed matters, close to the pace all the way around the track. Number 2, Terry, number 7, he's got it. Second best early pace late combination in the field, Terry. And last time out did show some internal race improvement. That's usually a hint that a horse is rounding into form. So when you see you see like the 2 furlong numbers or the 4 furlong number or the late pace numbers improve race over race, that's a sign to me, at least it's been horses that are getting into better shape. And finally, Pineapple Man, Terry, the fruit that eats you while you're eating it, does have some early pace, gets first-time Lasix. You know I like that. And that comes off a horse with the top early pace numbers in the field. It did improve nicely in race number 2 of its career and was well bet in both starts. So race number 9, Terry, wraps up the late pick 4, and I think we prime ribbed both of us at the end. So there's your pick 4. There's my pick 4. I was really thinking about just making a stand in race number 8 with only one horse, Terry. But I feel like tossing one of them out is still making a stand.
Yeah, that's true.
So tell us how you wrapped them, why you put them in this. Why? Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand. Race number 8, there's only 3 horses in the race, right? Unless the 4 comes back to beat both of us.
Yeah, and that's always a concern for me. If I was playing this ticket, or when I do play it today, I'm going to throw the 4 in there just because I don't like to get beat by that one horse. But anyway, to me, this with all the scratches, a lot of my first in 2 of these races, my first pick was scratched. So I felt like it was a pretty wide open pick 4, and I think it's going to actually pay pretty decent, even though that 8th race might be won by a hard favorite.
Well, what you got to hope you catch in the 8th race is that there's a lot of singles there.
Yeah.
And I don't know which horse they're going to single, Terry. I'm going to guess that might be the one horse. I don't know. I was thinking about singling it, so I'm sure that a lot of people are thinking along the same vein. Here's again our pick 4s. Let's just quickly go through all the picks again. Here are all of our picks. Race 1, right now, they are, I think, about loading in the gate, right? Let's see.
Yeah, they are. They're loading in.
Yes. Ooh, it looks pretty foggy there today. I don't know if it's snowing or raining. It looks like it's a mix of snow and rain. So this track is going to end up sloppy by the end of the day. There's no question about that, I think. Yeah, it kind of looks sloppy to me already. So it's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. So, yeah, the favorite is now entering at 2-5, Terry. So if you bet it for every well, now it's down to 1-5. So, I mean, the syndicates are coming in hard on that 5 horse at the end. So here are all of our picks. Here is our hot dog pick, start inning in race number 2 coming up. That's our hot dog pick 4. Our prime rib pick 4 at the end of the card. And then our box it-ups, which are $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box, Terry. And let's see, are they off? Let's see how race 1 is going. Yes, they're off.
Oh, one of them stumbled a little bit.
So it looks to me like the 5 horse is on the lead, followed closely by the 6 horse.
Yeah.
And they're moving down towards the rail now. It is, no, let's see. It is 5, 7. So the 5 is on the rail with the lead. The 7 is on his tail with the 6 a little bit wide. Surprisingly, there's really not a lot of difference here. The opening quarter is in 24. So, maybe a little bit on the quick side in the mud.
Yeah.
So right now the 6 is they're working their way into the turn. The 6 horses between horses. The 7 horse is now, as they say, looming boldly to the outside, Terry. 5 horses running under control, very nicely under control. The 6 horse is starting to make his move with the 7. The 5 horses still, as they come out of the turn, the jockey has not really asked for anything. Just now starting to whip on the 5 horse. But, it's going to be a pretty close. Ooh, he just came out into the 6's path, so I don't know if that's going to hurt or not. It looks like the 7, Terry, is going to actually get up and get by him. And that is maybe. The 7 is just running really all over the track. So it's making, the 7 is actually going to get up and get by him. So it's going to go 7, 5, 7, 5, 6, and 2. Oh, no, 7, 5, 4, and 2. So the 7 horse went off, Terry, this is race number 1, right? Are you with me, Terry? You're on mute.
There we go.
Yeah, 7 horse went off at 15-1.
Wow. Yeah, that's 7, 5, 6, 4 or 7.
No, 7, 5, 4. Yeah, that 4. If you're watching the race and the reason why we both said the 6 horse, if you're watching the race on whatever service that you use, the geo tracking that they use, the 4 horse was like off the screen and then came back into the screen at the end.
This is a race where with the hard favorite, I would have done that thing I like doing, which is all over the favorite for the exacta. So, and that 4 was 38-1.
That would have been nice to put in there too.
So, you could with only 7 horses, trifecta, and I've done this. I don't know if I've done it here, but you can go all favorite, all.
Mhm.
and then all favorite.
Well, what
So
I liked about this horse, Terry, as we mentioned up the top, it's a first-time starter. And then when you looked at the top two horses, the 6 and the 5, there really wasn't much in terms for it to beat. And one of the things that I like to look at when you see a first-time starter is how many furlongs of workouts that they had. And this horse, since December 31st, so in a little bit over a month, had 17 furlongs of workouts. So it was a
yeah,
lot of workouts for that horse. That meant it was fit, Terry. It was still a little bit green, though, when it was coming down that lane. It was running sideways and stuff, so I wasn't quite sure what it wanted to do.
yeah, absolutely.
Got to be a big try. Yeah, it's going to be
Oh,
a nice
absolutely.
try. It's going to be a nice exacta, even with the favorite running second, right?
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
see for sure. How are things going, Jay, by the way? I know you said you had some stuff coming up, so hopefully that's gone well for you. All right, Terry, that wraps up today. Again, tonight, if you're around, make sure you come join us at 9:30 Eastern time when we talk to Gerard Melanson. It looks like Melancon on paper, but I know down there in the bayou, they pronounce it El Melanson. We're going to talk a lot about his, I've seen other interviews with him, and there's nothing that he leaves off the table, man. So this should be a really fun conversation. We're going to talk about 3 of his 4 mounts on Saturday at Delta Downs, where they have a lot of stakes races. So it should be a fun card at a bull ring. Terry loves bull rings, so I imagine Terry's going to have some great picks for us tonight, along with Tom and Sean. Tom, speaking of Tom, he and I will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern. We're going to take our traveling Friday, Foreign Fridays tour to New Zealand, which should be a lot of fun too, right? Look at me getting names right. I got to get something right once in a while, Jay. It's how it goes sometimes, man. And then outside of that, Terry and I will be back. We're going to cover, I think, at least one race on Saturday at Gulfstream Park, the Holy Bull. We're going to cover all the stakes races at Santa Anita, and we're also going to cover the lone stake race at Oaklawn Park. All right, Terry. Well, you have off until tonight, and then you get off to tomorrow. What you got planned for the rest of this day?
Well, I'm going to work on tonight's show and the handicap the races for Saturday, and then I've got some honeydew things that supposed to do. This is a good day to do that. So, and I want you to not forget to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Race the number 2 day, and then like us on Facebook at Horse Race number 2 day. We'd sure like you to do that, because the more you do that, the easier it is for us to do these shows and get going. So,
yeah, indeed. And also, we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers at YouTube. Help us get there by telling your friends about us, because once you get to 1,000, you get some other benefits from YouTube, some of which means we might make a buck or two. All right, Terry, by the way, Jay, that trifecta that you mentioned, how much did it pay? You want to know? For 50 cents, that trifecta paid. Oh, they just had it up on the screen too, and now they took it off.
$338.
There you go. Not bad way to get the day started. Unfortunately, neither one of us had the 4, Terry. Had to close out that trifecta, but nonetheless, hopefully we had some more shots like that. I need more. Hopefully we got some more shots like that in our hot dog and our box it ups and our prime rib pick 4. So one final thing, Terry, before we get out of here today, your best bet, as you mentioned, is in race number 8.
It is.
And you could always catch our picks over at horseracingtoday.net. Make sure you go over there. We got a lot of great stuff on the site. And then, how did your best bet do yesterday, Terry?
Yeah, yesterday my best bet was at Gulfstream, the 4th race. The number 5 Al Kahira actually ran second and paid $260 and $240. The 8 Queen Mancha and the 1 Estate did not get the money, so it was.
So we're going to do better today, Terry. Absolutely,
yeah,
for sure.
We will. So.
And then if you're going to bet today at Charlestown later on tonight, when you're sitting around looking for something to do, make sure you head on over there and bet on the Torpedo, a guest of ours on the Horse Center show. Our Charlestown picks over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet are free. Just gone over there, click on Charlestown, and you will see Spectaculo. Did I get that one right, Jay? Is the top pick for race number 1 as a best bet over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet, Terry. All right, Terry, may Spectaculo, and maybe we get some more 15-1 winners today, Terry, as always. We hope everybody has a fantastic day, that your life and your picks end up in the
Winner's circle.
Absolutely, everybody. Have a fantastic Thursday. We'll see you tonight at 9:30 Eastern.
Okay.